So, good morning again. I am Emmanuel Noutary. I'm the General Delegate of the ANIMA Investment Network. I'm very glad to welcome you, along with our partners, Dynamic Vision and the Green Growth Project, also our members, ACCIÓ, the Economic Development Agency of Catalonia, GAFI, the Investment Promotion Agency of Egypt, and ESGreece. Who are our speakers today. As you may know, because I see some friends connected, this webinar is part of a series of monthly meetings that we have started over 1.5 years ago now, to share good practice among business and investment support organizations across the Mediterranean countries, north and south, on how they are dealing with the COVID pandemic and how they're preparing for the recovery and seize the economic opportunities that are arising from this crisis. So every month, we invite usually 3 experts to present a topic of common interest, to show illustrations of what has been undertaken in their organizations, their country or their region, and give their perspective for the future. Today, discussion will be about developing investment in the green economy, which is a major challenge for all our countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea. What are the opportunities for our country to develop or attract companies in this domain? What are the strategies implemented, and what are the financing possibilities for companies in this green economy? We are organizing this webinar with the support of the Interreg Med Green Growth Project, which is an inter-region EU-funded initiative to create a community of green growth promoters, which facilitate mutual learning. Thank you for our colleagues of the Green Growth Project for being with us as well. So thank you again for being with us today, and thank you to the distinguished speakers that will come and that are accepted to share their views today. So. At first, I have a few tips. You have to know that the webinar is translated in French. So if you want to access to the French translation, you can use the button translation, which is in your pad, in your screen. It is recorded, so you can review it. You can share it to your colleagues easily. It will be published then on our website and on our YouTube channel. Please cut your microphone and your camera during the speech, so it doesn't use too much bandwidth, and it's also more comfortable to hear the presentation. And you will be able to raise your question by using the chat box during and your question will be conveyed to the speakers. So today, we have four speakers. Zoé Luçon, who is a senior expert at ANIMA Investment Network. She specializes in the issues of sustainable development goals and impact assessment. We have Roger Costa, which is a FDI promotion and partners manager at the Catalonia Trade and Investment Agency in Spain. We have Ahmed Zohair. I'm not sure he will be able to be with us to interact with you today, but we have a video from him. He's a director of foreign investment promotion at the General Authority for Investment and Free Zone in Egypt, the GAFI. And finally, we have with us Christina Deligianni-Dimitrakou. She's the founder of ESGreece, which is a famous newsletter on ESG. So she will give us a perspective on these sectors, on the sustainable development and the impact of companies, and especially how we can fund the projects. I also would like to inform you that if you need to implement strategies in your organizations in relation to the topic of the day, ANIMA, thanks to another project called ACCIÓ Med, can offer you a peer learning support, which can subsidize short-term missions, technical missions with peers, which means that we can give you a grant to travel to meet one of the speakers, for example, of the day, if you're interested to pursue the collaboration with him, to subsidize also the time that the speaker or the expert will spend to support you in implementing eventually a service or a strategy that you are interested in. So we can really help this peer-to-peer technical exchange with this instrument. Finally, you can review all our presentations made during these webinars on our website, anima.coop, like cooperation. You go into the menu and select the good practice section, and you will access to all the presentations that have been made since the beginning of this webinar series. So, as you know, 188 countries, as well as the European Union, have ratified the Paris Agreement to fight global warming. In doing so, they have made commitments to reduce greenhouse gases and to develop new sectors that contribute to climate change. So it's an obligation, it's a commitment of our countries to progress in this domain of minimizing the climate change impact. So during this webinar, which is a second of the kind dealing with this topic, we will try to understand how the challenges related to the climate change have modified the strategies of our countries to attract, to retain, or to develop investment. We will also try to understand how the COVID-19 as well, which came as an additional trouble in this context, is impacting these strategies. We will see how the investment promotion agencies and economic development actors have reacted to serve the new strategies in which their countries have engaged. And finally, how the investment projects in this domain can access to finance to facilitate their implementation. So, without any transition, I would like to give the floor to Zoé Luçon, senior expert at ANIMA, to present a little bit of framework ideas and specifically how the agencies have reacted and how supporting green investment and green innovation in the Mediterranean region. So Zoé, the floor is yours. If you want to share your screen, you can speak and put your microphone on.
Can you hear me?
Very well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I'm really pleased to be part of this webinar today. And first, I would like to introduce today's discussion to focus indeed on the impact of climate change and also of the COVID-19 pandemic on green investment and how it opens a real window of opportunity to foster green growth. And then I will focus on two examples of strategies, of microeconomic strategies to focus the greening of investment. So first, climate change. Well, Emmanuel, you mentioned the reduction of emission targets that have been adopted worldwide. So in Europe, with the adoption of the Green Deal, Europe has put forward a plan to cut emissions by 45% by 2030. The results are not really here yet, but this is the plan. And in the Mediterranean, almost all countries also adopted quantified targets of emission reduction as well under the Paris Agreement. So obviously, these commitments are an opportunity for mainstreaming investment toward green objectives. And so we at ANIMA monitor foreign investment trends with an observatory. And indeed, we see that over the past year, there is a growing interest of foreign investors for green sectors. And we see a growing number of investment projects in the field of renewable energy, of agri-food, and also transport and logistics, among others. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic adds another layer of challenges, but also opportunities to foster green investment, and also the shortening of global value chain. So among the factors pointing to this shortening of Mediterranean value chain, I would like to mention first, an increased awareness, not only among companies, but also among governments and citizens of our excessive dependence on Asia. Also on the risk of disruption in supply chains, we still see that today in many sectors, many industries. And finally, an increased awareness about the environmental costs of our production models, which actually end up in becoming economic costs. The second main factor I wanted to mention is that we witness a real acceleration of changes in regulatory frameworks regarding environment. So all these factors and their impacts are discussed in a very interesting paper that is going to be released very soon by the Center for Mediterranean Integration. This paper is written by Patricia Augier and Michael Gaziorek, who are two researchers that are also involved in the Next Society, an initiative I will mention a bit later. And they highlight that in this paper that Mediterranean countries really have the assets to take advantage of this redeployment of value chain, for instance, in terms of geographical and cultural proximity with Europe, but also because of their positioning in terms of labor costs. So that's why Mediterranean countries, investment agencies have this really strategic window of opportunity to support the development of green investment and also probably to rebalance their economic partnership with Europe. So I will highlight two examples of strategies that can be implemented by agencies. First, I would like to mention the greening of production modes. So this offers a vast potential of savings and increased competitiveness in the Mediterranean. Companies can reduce their consumption of energy and other resources, and often with a rather quick return on investment. So to do so, they need financial instruments. And so you can see on this slide one example, the green value chain, which is implemented by EBRD together with other donors and in partnership with Moroccan banks. So under this instrument, Moroccan SMEs that invest in high-performing equipment that integrate energy, water, and resource efficiency get some technical support, but also a loan and even an investment grant. So what can be the role of agencies regarding this greening of production mode? Well, they can promote support SME access to diversified financing instruments, but not only. They can also promote green procurement policies, and they can deliver direct support to companies investing in greener production modes. The second example of strategies I wanted to highlight is the support to green innovation. And to do that, I would like to share ANIMA's experience with the Next Society. So this is an initiative that aims at supporting innovation ecosystem in 7 Mediterranean countries, from Morocco to Lebanon. It's implemented by a consortium of 25 organizations in Europe and in the South Mediterranean, and it's supported by the European Commission. You can see on this slide some figures regarding the impact of this initiative, and I would like to especially highlight the share of the startups we support that are in green sectors. You can see that more than half of them develop solutions addressing SDGs like zero hunger, health, education, water, and energy. I would like to mention 3 examples of green startups so that you can see how they contribute to the green transition and the greening of our economies. First, ESGreece. So this startup is based in Lebanon, and despite the very difficult situation there, the startup raised money and raised interest and money from an investor, and so it offers solutions to transform sludge into local organic fertilizer according to the Food and Agriculture Organization guidelines. A second example is ACCIÓ in Jordan. So it's basically ACCIÓ develops a low carbon wastewater treatment plant in one bag, one compostable bag. So it's a really innovative, low tech, low cost and efficient solution in terms of sanitation. It can be produced locally and it can be used in different settings, including in refugee camps. Finally, I wanted to mention a last example in the field of transportation with Cloudfreight, which is based in Morocco and now also in Europe, in France. So they developed a digital platform to connect carriers across Europe and Africa with shippers to optimize truck empty returns. And this allowed to reduce carbon footprint by 30%. So you see that these Mediterranean startups represent a key opportunity to foster green growth. So we think it's a very important strategic objective for agencies to support green innovation. So what are the lessons learned from the next society? First, in terms of the most effective programs to support startups, we see that international acceleration programs are really effective. So they should associate boot camps, but also mentoring and international soft landing activities. And so to this end, we developed a program with the Next Society with Big Booster, which is a program that is run in Lyon, in France, and in Boston. And so we, with our other partners and especially Startup Morocco, we added a stop in Morocco, and we see these programs are really impactful for the startups. Another key lessons from the Next Society is the importance of technology transfer and open innovation. We really should support technology transfer because this is a key driver for green innovation. And so within the Next Society, we designed a special program to target researchers and entrepreneurs who transform research outputs or their scientific skills into business. And finally, of course, the question of access to finance, it's crucial to enable startups to scale up and to go international. And what we see is that when the startups in the Mediterranean are investment ready, they still face many barriers. For instance, they lack information, they lack skills, for instance, regarding the legal issues. They also need some support to deal with investors, especially at the due diligence stage. We see also that business support organizations like clusters or accelerators and incubators don't always have the required skills and know-how to support financial know-how to support the startups. And last but not least, the options of funding are still limited, especially at the access to seed capital. So what should be the role of agencies given that context and all these barriers? Well, to support green innovation, well, of course, they can support and promote programs supporting startups, but they should also promote a more integrated value chain of innovation financing products. You can see on this slide an example of mapping that has been designed by BPI France, which is France's public bank in charge of supporting innovation. And you see that the financial products are different at each stage of the project progress. And finally, a last role for agencies is probably to help reinforce financial capacities of all stakeholders within innovation ecosystem, and also to create new collaboration channels between players, innovation players. I would like to conclude with a few words regarding also our global macroeconomic strategies. We really need to shift But the objectives are not the same for Europe and for the Mediterranean countries. In Europe, probably we have a big major responsibility to become the first developed region to adopt strategies to reduce our energy consumption. You can see two quotes on the slide, but it's now clear that a full decoupling between economic growth and resource consumption is not possible. Of course, green growth offers wide opportunities, but the problem is that even if green innovations are a major part of the solution, they don't happen fast enough, and because growth drives energy demand up. So we really need to reconsider our objectives and probably to develop strategies aiming at reducing our consumption of energy. And by contrast, in the Mediterranean, this is definitively not an option to reduce energy consumption. And on the contrary, Mediterranean countries still need to increase their resource and energy use. But instead of focusing on the development of export-oriented economies, exporting goods that are not always in line with sustainable development, like fast fashion or disposable tech, they really need to focus on national needs and SDGs and to mobilize their resources and productive capacities toward these sectors of health, education, infrastructures, and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zoé, for this interesting information. If you have questions, either you can raise your hands to ask for the floor, or you can also put your question in the chat box. When I look at your conclusion, Zoé, it seems that I have two questions actually, but the first question would be that when we are talking about green growth, mostly it should concern the south of the Mediterranean or the developing economies. We are in Europe, we are not anymore in green growth, we are in green transition, but as the European Environment Agency puts it, that we have to disconnect from growth. Do you agree with that statement? Yes. And yeah. Secondly, we are on a webinar on attractiveness, which means probably exogenous development of investment. But when I look at your presentation, it seems that the challenge and also the work of the agencies is much more endogenous. So what do you think about the title itself of our webinar, which is attractive green growth projects? Is it still relevant to talk like this?
Yes, this is exactly the point I wanted to share in my conclusion, that in Europe, I think that the green growth concept is more and more discussed, and despite all promises, we see that we cannot stop the rise in our energy consumption, and this is not possible anymore. So I think new alternatives are now discussed, and you can see in the quote of there was a briefing of the European Environment Agencies, and we now talk about degrowth or also donut growth, and those are new concepts that future Europe and developed regions, and of course in the Mediterranean, the consumption of energy is much lower, and so we cannot ask this country to reduce this energy, and actually it's quite the opposite. They still need to increase their capacity to produce energy, even if energy efficiency is a major target. So yes, green growth is definitively still the right model for Mediterranean countries, and so focusing on microeconomic strategies to support companies in the greening of their production mode, to support green startups is a really important focus.
Okay. What about exogenous versus endogenous development of the green transition?
Can you elaborate on your question? I'm not sure I get your point.
If you want to attract, what does it make sense to attract projects? Can it make a change to attract projects in the green economy? Is it a need, or is it should we work on the transition of existing projects rather than attracting new projects?
It's definitely a need, and there's a vast potential. I read a few days ago that British investors are now investing again in renewable energy in Morocco, and that they want to develop electric connections between Morocco and Great Britain. So yes, it's a need, and it's a major trend. So yes, of course, it's relevant.
Okay, great. Is there any question for Zoé? Anyone wants to speak, to have the floor? Nobody? Okay, thank you very much, Zoé. We move to our next speakers. So sorry, Roger. Christina has a new commitment that arises, and I have to ask her to speak now, and it will be ladies first. So I'm sure you will understand. So Christina Deligianni-Dimitrakou, you are the founder of ESGreece. You will tell us what is ESGreece, obviously. Thank you, Christina. You're with us.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Christina Deligianni. I'm the co-founder of ESGreece. ESGreece is a weekly newsletter on all things ESG, impact investment, and sustainability in Greece, and global because it is still in English. So I encourage you to subscribe to our free service. I will write it for all participants to subscribe in the chat right now. Can I share my screen?
Yes, of course. I don't know if we have a video for Christina or not. Yeah. What we do? You want to? We can project we can show your video that you have prepared, and then we have an exchange and questions with you, if you don't mind. Is that okay for you?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Put the link to your newsletter in the chat, indeed, so we have the information. So we see you in a few minutes after the video.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Hello, I'm Christina Deligianni, the co-founder of ESGreece, and I will be talking about sustainability and ESG finance and investment trends globally and in Greece. So, what is the global emergence of sustainability-linked finance and investment? According to BlackRock and UNCTAD, the projected global growth of ESG ETFs is exponential. And we see that now in 2021, there are $80 billion US dollars on ESG ETFs that is projected in 2028 to reach $400 billion US dollars according to BlackRock. Let me make a distinction between sustainable investing and impact investing because I believe this is very crucial in our discussion. Sustainable investing allows investors to ensure they're not investing in companies with a net negative impact, whereas impact investing goes well beyond avoiding harm and managing ESG risks. It aims to harness the power of investing to do good for society by choosing and managing investments to generate positive impact. ESG is getting ahead of other sustainable finance approaches, and indeed it is getting traction. The global total of assets under management that followed some form of sustainability approach amounted to close to $60 trillion US dollars in 2020, or more than half of all other assets under management. And in the past, we would talk about negative screening of investments, but now we see that ESG integration is actually getting traction. The demand for ESG-oriented hedge funds is huge. According to, this is a KPMG survey. According to this manager survey, 85% of institutional investors are the biggest drivers of demand for ESG-oriented hedge funds. 55% of ESG-oriented hedge funds continue to target alpha returns while managing fat-tailed far-off risks. 18% of hedge fund managers have integrated ESG factors across their strategies, and 63% of progress has been hampered by the lack of robust templates, consistent definitions, and reliable data. Reliable data is an issue that has been debated and discussed for so long. So what is the global and EU scene for sustainable linked finance and investment? Well, there is the SDGs investment gap. The total annual investments in SDG related sectors in developing countries will need to be between 3.3 to 4.3 trillion US dollars. The IMF estimated that for 5 priority areas, that is education, health, roads, electricity, and water sanitation, an additional public and private annual spending of 580 billion US dollars for low and lower middle income countries and 2.1 trillion US dollars for emerging countries will be required by 2030. When it comes to the European Union, the European Commission has announced the EU Just Transition Fund. This is a key tool to ensure that the transition towards a climate-neutral economy happens in a fair, in a just way, leaving no one behind, mobilizing up to 150 billion euros over the period of 2021 to 2027. The Just Transition Fund consists of 40 billion euros, generating at least around 100 billion investments, and there are so other schemes. The Invest EU Just Transition Scheme mobilizing 30 billion euros in investments, the EIB Public Sector Loan Facility, which is 10 billion euros in loans, and it's backed by 1.5 billion of the EU budget. But this is not just only funding. With the Just Transition platform, the Commission will be providing technical assistance to member states and investors. So, what parameters are sustainability-linked ESG finance and investment cases are looking for? So, ESG disclosures is a big issue because it enables investors to make informed decisions by identifying those companies that may pose a risk or perform less due to sustainability or ESG failings. Transparency and proactive disclosure on ESG issues is the expectation rather than the exception, and the importance of ESG disclosures is likely to grow. The criteria could be environmental factors, social factors, governance factors such as accidental pollution, waste, transportation, child and forced labor, customer relations, supplier relations, working hours, health and safety, anti-corruption, lobbying, product safety, shareholders, audit and internal controls. I will give some global large-scale examples of sustainability and ESG finance and investments, which I think are very important in our discussions. So the Mubadala Group, the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, has established a responsible investing arm. Mubadala joined the One Planet Sovereign Wealth Funds initiative, a coalition established to integrate climate change into its priorities. And some of the objectives of their responsible investing policy is to identify and understand and proactively manage ESG-related principles and considerations at the asset, portfolio, and corporate levels. There is the case of the retail giant Majid Al Fattam in the Middle East, in the GCC countries, that has secured its first sustainability-linked loan with a value of 5.5 billion dirhams. That's 1.5 billion US dollars in August. This 5-year loan is structured as a revolving credit facility, and it includes a gender diversity target for women to constitute 30% of board members and senior management roles. Munich Re has launched its second green subordinated bond after a successful issuance in 2020, and this is designed to reinforce its capital base with a focus on emerging growth opportunities in reinsurance markets. The volume of this issue is 1 billion euros, and the bond has a coupon of 1% and will mature in 2042. The Dubai headquartered logistics firm DP World was the first company in the region to sign a $2 billion green loan transaction, and this was a huge news recently. And in 2019, DP World established a sustainable development financing framework because this enables it to issue green, social, or sustainability bonds and sukuks. So what is happening in Greece? Well, it seems that sustainability-linked finance and investment is picking up speed and gaining traction. According to Bloomberg Green and other sources, Greece's plan for using the European Union funds, the Just Transition Fund and other funds to combat the effects of the coronavirus pandemic will accelerate the nation's transition from fossil fuels to a greener economy. Both domestic and foreign companies are expected to step up after almost 18 billion euros of public and private funds have been earmarked for everything from solar panels to energy storage to big energy projects. And here are some cases of private and public entities what they've done in the direction of sustainable investment and sustainability linked financing. The Hellenic Petroleum, this is Greece's largest refiner, will construct 18 solar parks with a total installed capacity of 204 megawatts in Western Macedonia, which is a region that is very much coal dependent. Terna Energy, this is a public company, is planning a 60 million euro pump storage project in Western Greece. And this will be a way of the company to also boost local employment. Greece's public power corporation, the public power company, and Germany's RWE have agreed to spend 1 billion euros on solar parks with a capacity of 2 gigawatts through a joint venture, also in Western Greece. There's also a group of Greece's largest energy producers and providers that include Motor Oil, Elas, Terna Energy, the TAP. This is a trans-Adriatic pipeline. They have submitted a proposal for a green hydrogen plant, which will cost 8 billion euros. Mytilineos and the Public Power Corporation have also indicated that they're looking to enter the offshore wind industry. And Greece will begin discussions on a national hydrogen strategy next month. There are also other plans in Greece because there have been a wave of green investments on some small islands, on 20 to be specific, small islands. And in a few years, tourists that are very environmentally aware and they're visiting Greece could be able to choose secluded destinations that produce their own energy and have all electric transportation. When it comes to the Just Transition Fund in Greece, this amount, the total amount of funding, including of course, the private resources that will be leveraged, is estimated to exceed 5 billion euros, both from EU and national resources. And thus, this will be a way to safeguard employment, to secure jobs, and to create new ones. And it will also offset all the effects of moving from a coal-based economy in some areas to greener options, and they will maintain and strengthen the social fabric. They will also ensure the energy self-sufficiency of the transition areas and the country in general while developing the local economy. Well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina. Very interesting, and in fact, very good that you came at this moment of the webinar with this framework you presented. You presented a lot of billions of euro, dollars, etc. So, but just for us to know, maybe what is these billions that are dedicated to sustainable investment, impact investment? If we look at their share within the total asset management, what does it weight, this new trend of investing in sustainable? Do you have these figures to know?
I don't have this figure. I know there were too many figures and numbers in my presentation, but this was to show you how much there's this transition from, green growth to green transition, but also from, just the SDGs, which are very general and very, voluntarily, some countries agreed to accept them and implement them. But from SDGs, we're going to ESG, and ESG is the environmental, social, and governance criteria that every investment should look into. And we have huge companies like BlackRock actually having ESG criteria in place and investing according to them. And now we see that even in when it comes to the just transition funds of the European Union, there should be elements of sustainability and ESG. So when you move from a very much coal-dependent region in Greece or in Poland to greener options, then you have to ensure that, not only the environmental aspects are respected, but also what happens to the families, the hundreds and thousands of families that will go out of a job. So what do you do with them? Do you upskill, reskill those communities of employees, of workers that used to work in the coal plants? And also there are so many governance issues that are addressed with this transition to more ESG criteria-based investments, impact investments. So do you have more women in your board of directors? Do you respect human rights? Do you employ people in a fair and transparent way? So all these criteria will be changing Europe and the world at large. And let me also say something that was not really mentioned in my presentation, but is very important in our discussions, and especially for the Mediterranean countries. There's this big bank in Greece. It's called HDBI, the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments, that gives out funds to private investors, to impact investors, that is, and they have calls for green funds to be created in Greece. But these will address SMEs and companies all around Europe and the Mediterranean. So investors, even in Greece, are actively seeking green investments to invest in, green companies, green solutions, green technologies. So there is this huge opportunity as we are transitioning to a greener economy, to a more ESG, to a more fair and just economy, to actually do good and to actually spearhead all this, all this money to all these funds that are being put into the market to more sustainable solutions. But I don't have the figure. I don't have the figure how much everything amounts to, because as we see things and companies, entities, even governments, even the European Union are trying to be more sustainable, more green as regards an investment. So
I know it's very difficult to know this figure, but still the amounts that is arrowed to green investment, to sustainable investment is already very significant, and you showed very impressive figures. Whereas I know that it represents a very tiny share of the global assets management. But before I raise my question, if some of you wants to speak, to discuss with Christina, please raise your hand or open your video and microphone. I don't know if Roger Costa or Zoé Luçon, our expert, I want to have a question or discussion with Christina, because she will not stay until the end of the webinar, but feel free to do it. what I understand as well from your presentation, Christina, well, there is a lot of new regulations. There is a political will, so which translates into new regulations at supranational level, at national level. You see, you showed us very interesting example of Greece. There is also new funds that are targeted to these sectors. My feeling when discussing with the financing people, banks, funds that are new, that are given this new reporting framework, because that's exactly what it is. They need to report what they do on these topics of greener transition, etc. Is there not a risk of greenwashing? They need to invest, and they will invest in project whatever it takes, and trying to report the best they can that the criteria. Do you identify this risk, and how can we move on to make that the good projects are financed?
Well, there have been cases of greenwashing. There have been cases of ESG washing, blue washing, as regards funds in the blue economy. So this is a risk that has been already pinpointed globally, and this arises from many factors. One huge factor that contributes to greenwashing is the fact that we don't have reliable data. So what we do is we rely on data that are disclosed by companies voluntarily, and all this data cannot be measured with a common standard. So we don't have a common standard to measure and evaluate the data, which is really not enough. And we have different sectors and different industries having different sets of measurements. So unless there is first of all reliable data and valid data from the companies, which will be, it's a regulation thing. And unless we have a common set of metrics, of measurements, and a common evaluation tool, just like we have the accounting standards, then greenwashing can happen. It is a risk. I'm not saying that everyone does this, but it is a risk that we have to evaluate. And there's so many things, so many new tools on the regulatory framework that are happening right now. For instance, the EU is actually promoting the EU taxonomy. The EU taxonomy for sustainable investments will somehow regulate the whole framework of the data that is being disclosed by companies. In Greece, for instance, all the public listed companies have to submit some sustainability reports, or any report that shows that are green. But we have to move past that, because this is like a first stepping stone. This is very basic. We have to move towards more ESG, reliable data and metrics. Otherwise, it will be, everyone does good, but we don't really know how to do it, and we're not really sure that this is happening. So, and this applies on everything. Like a favorite example of mine is when the European Union actually invested in a country in Africa. They invested a huge amount of money for road infrastructure and maintenance, but little did they know that the country that received the funds was using child labor. So this is again a contradiction in terms. There all this great will to invest in a country, in a developing country, but the funds are misappropriated because child labor was used. So there are good intentions, but we should have metrics, and we should have criteria of how funds are being used, by countries, by funds, by small and medium enterprises.
It's very true what you say. We are taking the point of view on our side on the government and the investment promotion agencies, the economic development actors. And it's quite costly in the end when you want to evaluate, assess project and give support to companies based on their quality, on their capacity to reach the impact that is desired by the government. And we will have a webinar in December actually on this topic of project assessment, because we have developed a rating tool at ANIMA which makes the exercise of assessment more easier, because it's not a full environmental assessment or social assessment. It's more a rating, but at least it permits to agencies which are not experts of impact assessment or sustainable development assessment to be able at least to compare projects and to try to evaluate their impact. So I don't know if there is any question or comment from anyone.
Yes, I just wanted to add something regarding the question of greenwashing. I wanted to quote, I really agree with the importance of the difference between sustainable investing and impact investing, which was really relevant indeed. And I came across this paper that was published by The Guardian a few months ago by a former executive of BlackRock, who was in charge of developing green investment for BlackRock. And he quitted his position, and he said that green investing is definitively not going to work. And he said that I don't think the public realize we are not talking about stopping climate change. We are literally talking about selling assets so we don't get caught in the damage when it hits. So indeed, the question of accurate data is central, but I would like to say that there is also big progress being made on this issue of data, and that common standards are going to emerge. And one of the very easy way to have accurate data is actually the carbon footprint. And a few days ago, there was a very interesting example that companies can do that. And so, yes, it was 10 days ago, L'Oréal said that it achieved carbon neutrality across all its sites in the US. So this is really...
I think your comment is true. In fact, the comment you convey from the BlackRock ex-VP is true at the moment. I mean, that's where the financing sector is today.
Yeah.
With a lot of funds, with a lot of obligations to report results, and in fact not having necessarily the pipeline of adapted projects to invest. So there is also, and you presented Zoé, the startups that have emerged in these domains from initiatives like the Next Society, but there are other initiatives like this. And I think the issue of growing and raising up a pipeline of projects for these funds to be invested appropriately is probably a challenge as well. What do you think, Christina?
Thank you, Zoe, for mentioning the debacle at the BlackRock. It was across the news for many weeks now. The executive that resigned from BlackRock and came forth and said that ESG is not really working. So this is a huge debate nowadays. Is ESG working? Will it work? Will it change? So there's a lot of controversy at the moment when it comes to sustainable funds and impact investing. And as I mentioned before, unless we have some common standards, a common set of a yardstick to measure and evaluate everything, just like they say that the accounting standards emerged because after the Great Depression in the USA, they realized that each company had their own accounting standards, and this is how the US economy collapsed. So now we have to come to propose something that will be common, that will function across different industries and sectors. This is also very important because you cannot have the same standards for heavily polluting or heavily emitting carbon emissions industries like the shipping industry and compare it with an industry that has a very low carbon footprint. So unless we have this commonality, we will not be able to still be having discussions and controversies and debates on how we move forward or who is the greenest of them all. I don't know how this will happen, if this will become from regulators, like the regulator the capital commissions market, or if this will be from the market itself, like the the private companies actually coming forth and setting the standards. So either way, it will happen. It has to happen. I don't know if it will happen in 1 year or 5 years or 10 years time, but I don't think there's a way going back. So from the SDGs, we're moving fast to the ESG era. And this will change. This will change the way our economies function at every single level. So we'll see how this will play.
Yes, thank you for this positive conclusion. Just to finish with you, Christina, give us an example of your preferred success stories in this domain of green investment. What is a project you usually mention to say it works, it changed people's life, etc.?
Well, I don't have a preferred one because I haven't really thought of it, but I will give you an example of a company I was and I'm still involved in that does good on so many levels. It's a small startup from San Francisco that has created a vessel monitoring system that is very economical. A way to track the fishing activity of fishing boats. Normally, this is a very expensive activity, but this startup has, it's called Pelagic Data Systems. They have come up with a device which is very economical. It's like $100 each that can be put on any type of fishing vessel, small scale one, that normally you cannot really control their activity. And thus, first off, you control the what you do is you monitor the behavior as regards fishing boats being engaged in illegal activities. So fishermen will not fish in marine protected areas, or will not fish during periods when they are not supposed to be fishing, because this is prohibited, but also this, apart from the environmental risks and the environmental impact, which is great, what they do is they use it in Southeast Asia, where if you show that you sustainably source your fish, fishermen and fisherwomen can get a premium for fishing. So what they do is they also enhance the livelihoods and the dignity of fishermen and fisherwomen, which are not really very well paid in those countries, in most countries, that is. So it's a company that does good. It's actually a software company, because it's a device, a monitoring device, but also they protect the environment, the marine environment, which is, ocean governance will be one big theme in this decade. And also they provide a dignified way to make a sustainable livelihood for fishers. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, because we have to start small. We have to start somewhere, and I think this is a good example of good governance as well.
Excellent.
Because it can be used from for fishing authorities. It can be used from a fishing union. So that's the way forward when it comes to fishing.
Well, thank you very much, Christina. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to our friends of Dynamic Vision to put us in contact, and hope to pursue the discussion one of these days. Good luck with the media.
Very much. I'm looking forward to your feedback. Thank you so much for having me here. And of course, if there is a source of news information that you want us to publish, let us know.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So we now move to our next speaker, Roger Costa, from the Catalonia Trade and Investment Agency. Roger, hello. Roger Costa. I see that if you can turn on your camera and microphone. Hello, Roger. I think the connection is not very good. We cannot hear you. What we will do, Roger, I don't know if you maybe if you can get a better connection during the next minutes. What we will do is we will show your video with the presentation we wanted to make. You wanted to make, and we invited you to make on FDI attraction to generate and to develop a circular economy in Catalonia. And then we come back to you for the discussion. Let's start with the video.
Hi, everybody. I am Roger Costa from Catalonia Trade and Investment, the Catalan agency in charge of promoting and assisting foreign companies willing to invest in our region, in our country, Catalonia. Thanks, ANIMA team, for the invitation. I was invited for trying to explain how our agency is working on circular economy within the FDI attraction strategy. And so how we are doing in terms of inviting foreign companies to operate in our region, especially when it comes to operating in terms of circular economy and sustainability. So I'm going to try. This is something quite new for us, but we are doing nice work. There are already some initiatives in our country, in our region, in this framework, and I'm gonna try to expose, and I will be absolutely open afterwards to discuss with you during the Q&A how the agency is working with the circular economy concept and following the sustainable development goals of especially of the European Union, our FDI strategy, promotion and attraction strategy, and what about the circular economy on that. The ecosystem in Catalonia and some business opportunities. If you are representatives of companies or investment funds, etc., you will find such an interesting opportunities in Catalonia and an amazing ecosystem willing to cooperate internationally and globally speaking. Some success cases or companies already investing in our region. Finally, an invitation to participate to the Circular Economy Hotspot Catalonia 2021. Okay, which is going to take part in November. Catalonia is fully committed with the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. From 2015, we are engaged with this. We have been working on that. 4 or 5 years ago, we have an indicators published yearly by the Catalan government, an indicators trying to explain and transmit how Catalonia is doing in order to follow these sustainable development goals. And because of there are many things happening in Catalonia, we can have these indicators and work on trying to follow the Agenda 2030. Now, more than ever, with the next generation funds from Europe, because of the COVID and because of the effort of the European community to promote the economies in Europe in order to move further in terms of green economy and digitalization, we have been working on some strategic initiative. We have developed 5 pillars to try to apply to these funds, and one of these pillars is absolutely focused on the ecological transition. We have initiatives in terms of integrated water cycle, circular economy, sustainable and future mobility. This is one of the most important fields of for working in the coming future, the e-mobility, especially electric mobility. We have also within this or below this pillar, ecological transition pillar, another initiative oriented to energy transition. It is very important, especially in our region, sustainable urban regeneration and natural environment. And it doesn't mean that the other pillars are not related to sustainable development goals. And on the contrary, we have important initiatives because, for instance, below the pillar of economy for life, related to health and nutrition and agri-food industry, which can be also an opportunity to move forward in this commitment. Catalonia Trade and Investment is an agency with more than 35 years of experience, and we are offering solutions to foreign companies, the new players willing to operate in Catalonia, and also to those more than 8,900 foreign companies already based in Catalonia. And what we offer and we assist these companies, for instance, helping them to find the best place to operate, the best location, providing with information regarding the incentives, grants, loans, etc. And especially, and I think for this webinar is the most important thing, we facilitate the connection, the connectivity, and the integration to our ecosystem, to the new players. We want new players in Catalonia cooperating with the local players. We want innovation happening in Catalonia. We want foreign companies doing R&D in our region, growing and expanding from Catalonia. And that's why we try to be the bridge between the international companies and the local companies. We can help you all to be part of our ecosystem whenever you decide. We are growing in terms of number of projects coming from foreign companies in Catalonia. We have the traditional sectors in automotive, life sciences, agri-food, logistics, and what I'm gonna try to put in value now is how we are orienting this FDI attraction into the sustainable development goals, and trying to integrate the circular economy or circular in general concept to our goals, KPIs, and strategies. Our strategy. So we base our strategy in FDI promotion and attraction strategy in 4 basics. First one is define the assets. We try to find our uniqueness factors to explain foreign companies that we are special as a destination for foreign investment and for the projects. Second, we offer business opportunities. Otherwise, we cannot compete against our competitors, and we are regularly trying to find the most interesting business opportunities for the investors. So we especially focus on sectors, business operations. That means that, for instance, life sciences companies, what we have to offer in terms of come to Catalonia for manufacturing, come to Catalonia for having your logistics hub, come to Catalonia for doing your R&D, etc. And opportunities of the moment. We call momentum. For instance, now we have an incredible opportunity for electric vehicle batteries manufacturers. So we are trying to invite foreign companies, especially Asian companies, to come to Catalonia to develop and to build their battery factories in our region. Third component of our strategy, targeting companies. We don't care really in markets and sectors, and we are really trying to have clear and do not be lost on is what kind of companies and projects we want for our country, and go wherever these companies are. So we are doing an important work on the sense of targeting companies. We want companies that can represent and generate a pull effect in our region. We want global references. We want the global leaders in the different sectors we prioritize, etc. And 4 components of this strategy: tools and channels, which I'm gonna explain you in a few seconds. What we offer: opportunities in each single value chain step. And that means that we offer opportunities also to the companies in that moment of the industrial processes that the circular economy, green tech, their decarbonization processes have an important role. That's happening every day more and more. So the traditional industry in Catalonia is absolutely obligated to incorporate concepts of the concept of circular economy, is absolutely obligated to and compulsed to incorporate technologies oriented to green solutions. It is absolutely obligated to decarbonize their processes. So we are in this way. We are inviting foreign companies that can offer solutions in this sense and for this local industry and traditional industry. Why we are doing this? Because we are absolutely trying to be adapted to the new trends, and because it is a need, it is a must to give and offer solutions to the industry in terms of new technologies and new circular economy solutions, that it is also compulsory for us to try to orientate our FDI strategy to this new typology of projects related to circular economy. And also because we are absolutely aligned with the Green Deal European Union policies, and we have to belong and to be part of the next generation Europe tools and solutions. And again, we are absolutely obligated to be part of this game and to really believe that this is the way. How we do it? So having goals, tangible goals. We work with a methodology results oriented. We have KPIs. We have to respond to the Catalan authorities and citizens with our work, with our job, and year by year we offer tangible results for the Catalan economy, thanks to our strategy, to our foreign investment attraction work, and thanks to for instance, to the jobs created for the foreign companies, or thanks to the foreign companies projects in Catalonia. So we are an agency absolutely oriented to results, and what we are doing now is incorporating to these goals and KPIs the circular economy variables in order to move forward in this sense. Some tools that we are using and channels: we have information of the market with explaining the ecosystem and the business opportunities in this field. We have an important document called Opportunities in the Circular Economy in Catalonia snapshot. And we have also an interactive catalog of more than 100 Catalan startups and technology companies in Catalonia, oriented to providing technology solutions in the field of circular economy. And we have also some incentives lines and programs which are every day more and more oriented to the circular economy initiatives. During the last 3 years, we have been investing in 4 projects related to circular economy, generating an impact on investment with more than 31 million euros, an impact on job creation with more than 100 jobs created, and mobilizing grants for more than 700 million euros. And in addition to all these tools, we have especially FDI promotion and attraction plans, strategic plans, and I would like only to mention two of them related to circular economy and sustainable objectives, goals. One of these one is the electric vehicle batteries manufacturing plan. We are betting a lot on the vehicle of the future, electric vehicle, and we are working very hard in trying to attract a gigafactory of batteries for electric vehicle in Catalonia. And second, we are implementing an absolutely interesting and exciting strategic plan for attracting companies oriented to plant-based meat products, alternative proteins, solutions for the agri-food industry. We have companies in Catalonia already operating in this field, in this developing projects in the field of circular economy, like Danone with a project called Renova. This is a circular economy initiative for the recovery of packaging generated for the hospitality channel. DS Smith, with the goal of the company for 2030, which is trying to find a sustainable alternative to single-use plastic for all the packaging they produce. Enerchem from Canada with Suez from France, willing to create and build a plant in Tarragona for the reconversion of the urban solid waste into biofuels. And for instance, the non-profit organization headquartered in United States, Plastic Oceans, which has decided to open its first office in Southern Europe in Barcelona recently. So things are already happening in our region, and that's what we are trying to promote and to have even more success in the coming future. And last from my side, before the open discussion in the Q&A part, as I was mentioning in the very beginning, we will be hosting the European Leading Circular Economy event in the next November from 15 to 18 of November. We will be hosting the Circular Economy Hotspot Catalonia 2021. The registrations will be open from September on. I will be open to give you answers regarding to this event. It will be visits to the most innovative companies on the circular economy field. It will be talks from the very top experts. The event will be focused on 9 economic sectors, which are agri, food, fashion and textile, energy, building, packaging, public initiatives, chemicals, mobility, and water cycle. So that's all from my side. I wish some of the information provided with will be useful for you. And again, I am Roger Costa from Catalonia Trade and Investment, and I will be open to speak further and in more detail with you in the open conversation during the Q&As. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roger. So I think you are there. You are with us, Roger.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Wow, finally.
Good.
I'm so sorry for the previous problems.
Everything is working. Everything is fine. I've seen that you have some colleagues from Catalonia around. I've seen that the media Revolve is there, represented by Marta. I've seen that the University of Vic by Merce Boy is there. They are also very interested and specialized. They represent this circular economy and sustainable development dynamic that you testified during your presentation. Is there any question to Roger? Please raise your hand or open your video and microphone if you want to speak. Hein, si vous voulez poser des questions, et même en français, la traduction est faite. I have a few for you.
Okay.
First one is about the business opportunities. You mentioned that you generate business opportunity at ACCIÓ, at your agency. But there are two. There are how do you work on that? Is it watching, investigating the local economy, or is it an engineering role of creating business sectors, business opportunities? Are you organized for that?
No, in fact, is quite simple. We have a business intelligence department in charge of understanding properly what is happening in Catalonia, what are the new trends, what are the companies are involved and engaged with, and at the same time trying to understand and figure out what are the current needs of foreign companies, what are the foreign and international companies are looking for. And we, from our department, which is in charge of promoting this foreign investment, what we do is try to mix this amount of information of what is happening in Catalonia, what are the new sectors and the new trends, and what are the foreign companies are needing, and try to facilitate these opportunities to our counterparts in these big multinationals, SMEs, and also international startups, to try to invite them to take part of these opportunities in our country. Okay.
When you attract projects, you said that you are trying to attract new technologies or new way of doing things. What spillovers does it have on the Catalan industry, on the Catalan companies? Do you create, because obviously you're talking about circular economy, which means partnerships, local value chains, etc. How do you operate this engineering or these collaborations between the newcomers with new technologies, new ideas, and the local scene, the local business scene that probably will cooperate or change their practices?
Yeah, our main goal and specific driver is to create social impact in our country, in our region. That means sustainable growth, that means social impact in job creation, and that means so far that what we are always trying is to connect the foreign companies and integrate foreign companies with the local ecosystem in order to improve our region in terms of richness, in terms of, as I was mentioning, job creation, in terms of, so that's why we are prioritizing, for instance, all those projects coming from international companies that generate some kind of pull effect in our region. And how do? We have several tools, programs, and teams here in our organization, but for instance, we are very strong at promoting technology transfer and technology collaboration between Catalan companies and European companies. We are one of the most important regions in Europe, reaching European funds for R&D and innovation projects in collaboration. So we have different ways, but we always try to generate this link between the foreign companies and the local ecosystem.
And it is done by your staff from your agency, this work of...
Absolutely, yeah, but our staff in our agency, different departments in our agency, and we work hand by hand with an extensive network of external partners from the private and public sector as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe I did not catch, you mentioned big figures of 31 million euro, 100 jobs, 7 million grants. What is it?
This isn't a specific, it is a good question. So it is maybe not that much, but it is a specific program that we have. We try to incentivize high impact projects for our region. And if we analyze what this program, this is a program of grants. It is straight incentives or financing solutions for the creation of jobs and investment amount for foreign companies. And if we analyze how many of these projects the last 3 years have been impacting directly on the circular economy field, we can consider that we have 4 important examples, 4 important projects with this impact in terms of investment mobilized and creation of jobs. But this is for this specific program.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any question or comments about Roger's presentation? Someone? Okay. But then thank you very much, Roger. If you are kind enough to maybe put your email in the in the chat, so if people want to continue to interact with you, they will be able to contact you.
Absolutely.
So, we have now the presentation of Ahmed Zohair, but I don't think Ahmed is with us today. I think he could not make it finally. We have Mohammed Hassan represented the GAFI, the General Authority for Investment in Egypt. I don't know if Mohammed, you want to say hello.
Hello, Emmanuel. Hello, everybody. Actually, thank you, Emmanuel, for having us on board in this important topic, which is very important to Gambia, and I think this is very wide-spoken and attention in our region in the current day. So I'm very sorry that Ahmed couldn't join us today, but because he has an unavoided meeting suddenly this morning, but he informed me to convey his apology, and he is ready to receive your question, if any. And I think we have to think about having or repeating such very important topic in the near future in another webinars and to discuss further, because while listening to the speakers, and as I discovered that it's very important. We have a lot of participants today, very interesting topic. So I think this is maybe the start to continue such important topic, Emmanuel. And thank you for having us on board. Thank you, Emmanuel.
If there is any question, at least we will convey to you. And if you cannot answer, we can come back with the answer later. But maybe some of them you will be able to answer them. So let's look at that's the interest of shooting video before the event. Ahmed Zohair left us the video with a speech, so we can show the GAFI experience of attracting of developing the green economy and green growth in Egypt. So let's look at Ahmed Zohair's presentation.
Hello, everybody. I'm very delighted and honored to be with you today. My name is Zohair. I'm a director of Foreign Investment Promotion Department at General Authority for Investment and Free Zones. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very exciting topic which of great importance and interest to many. Hello, everybody. I'm very delighted and honored to be with you today. My name is Zohair. I'm a director of Foreign Investment Promotion Department at General Authority for Investment and Free Zones. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very exciting topic which of great importance and interest to many people on this earth, which is the green economy or the green growth. In fact, the global economy has experienced a significant transformations during COVID pandemics, and obviously will continue to the extent it might lead to a reshaping of its structures globally, during which we have seen many economic sectors have been bumped up to the forefront and become a priority sector for most countries, like healthcare, e-services, e-payment, education, etc., etc. And if we just make a deep analysis to those sectors, we will find that most of them are in line with the green economy initiatives. That's why the government or the Egyptian government has paid too much attention to that. As you probably know that the ultimate goal for ultimate objectives for going green is to fostering economic growth and development while ensuring that the assets continue to provide the resources and environmental services on which our well-being relies. In Egypt, going green or the Green Growth Initiative becomes a key indicator of economic recovery, and the approach help create more sustainable and less polluted environment and ensure a resilient economy that could cope with the external shocks and changes. Also, the initiatives aims at enhancing sustainable development and create more jobs through making reforms on fuel pricing and investment in solar energy and wind domains, and carrying out projects to convert fuel powered vehicle into natural gas powered one. It is also considered to be one of the main drivers to realize the Egyptian Vision 2030. In fact, the ultimate goal of this initiative is to double the green economy investment to reach 30% by the fiscal year of 21-22 and 50% throughout the next 3 years until 24th-25th, noting that the investment plan is distinguished by its great attention to the environment and sustainable development. Moreover, the Egyptian cabinet recently has approved the relevant standards that support these initiatives. So I would like to avail this opportunity to share with you some of the components of these initiatives. The first one, which is the solar panel. Egypt is to build the biggest solar park in the world. Both the government and the private sectors, with help of international financial institutions, contributed to implementing the biggest solar park that has 6 million panels installed over an area of 36 square kilometers. More than 40 companies from 12 countries took part in implementing that venture, meant to generate 1.5 gigawatt of energy. The Pimpan Solar Park will help Egypt achieve its goal while representing a fundamental change in the way the country provides power to its people. For decades, the government has built and operated almost every power plant in the country until recently. In fact, the government was spending more on electricity subsidy than it was on education, healthcare, social welfare combined. Therefore, the project is meant to promote Egypt's sustainable energy strategy, and it reflects the government's strong commitment to transform the economy into green. Another component, which is the greening transportation. Around the world, energy use and carbon emissions are increasing faster in the transport sector than in any other sectors. The current transportation system is one of the main causes of producing air pollution, emission of greenhouse gases, environmental degradation, global warming, and health implications. Greening the transportation sector is an essential solution to overcome the previous problem. That is why the Egyptian government has embarked in many initiatives to greening the transportation sector. So I would like to share some of the initiatives related to greening the transportation sector. The first one, which is a multi-year plan to convert car engines running on traditional fuels into dual fuel engines that can gasoline and natural gas in the same time. A parallel initiative sets to replace obsolete vehicle used by new cars working with natural gas, especially car older than 20 years old. The initiative is expected also to be extended to the new cars as well in the years to come. Another component of greening the transportation is to gradually replace public transportation to work on electricity. Over the coming 3 years, in this context, we have around 300 electrical buses currently are running on the streets, commuting people from different locations to another, and we are expecting that next year's 500 buses to be added, and over the coming 3 years, the whole system will be replaced. These initiatives also reflect the ambitious plan of the government in turning the economy into green. Another component of the initiative that has been already introduced by the government, which is the green bonds. In fact, we are very proud and honored to share with all participants that Egypt has become the first country in the Middle East and North Africa region to issue green bonds worth $750 million, noting that those are used to bankroll environment-friendly ventures. This in line of framework of the government vision and orientations for a green recovery and to have the lead in the Middle East in terms of turning the state's plan green. Finally, the global transition to a low-carbon, clean energy economy is now firmly underway. Yet, companies and their investors are clearly traveling at different speeds. If we are to direct the world's capital toward low-carbon investment opportunities, then we need to break through the barriers currently inhibiting its flow. This will require improvements in the availability, reliability, comparability of climate-related information. Governments have to adapt policies, legal framework, regulations, initiatives in order to enable their environment. The government should be on top of that, especially in the emerging country. I hope that this could gives you an just insight about how we think about and what the Egyptian government did in order to turn the economy into green. Thank you for your kind attention and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammed, you are with us? Mohammed Hassan from Geffen?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, Emmanuel.
I have a question. It's very impressive the presentation to show the dynamic and the political will for Egypt, because I understand that the solar panel park, the green transport, the green bonds, the new regulations, all these it's a very strong political will. Is it a full public investment? I understand that there is green bonds from international funds, solar panel with international institutions. Is the private sector associated to this dynamic so far, or it's more a pull from the government to pave the way for the green economy?
Yeah, Emmanuel, actually, we have attracted a lot of funding into these projects, and the private sector is a key stakeholder in these projects in collaboration with international donors. So the private sector, I think he is taking somehow lead in this project, turning or transforming to green economies, especially in the electricity and energy.
And is it foreign operators or national operators that are that are involved in this project?
Yeah, Egyptian and international investors in this project, Emmanuel.
Okay, excellent. I don't know if there are any reaction or question for Mohammed.
In fact, Emmanuel, sorry for being that, but I'm driving now, so because this very interesting topic, so I was keen to be with you now. But I think if we have any questions, further questions can be answered by Ahmed there, my colleague. So Heba can share Ahmed their email in the chat box, please, for further discussion. I just want to add something to this note delivered by Ahmed. Is for example, I recall that we started a new initiative in green cities, supported by EBRD in this regard, and we are starting with 6th of October in turning this city into a green city program to be covered by the green city program, very, very huge and highly supported or adopted by the EBRD in the Summit region in this regard. I think, Emmanuel, I do recommend you to have more webinars on this regard, because I think we have somehow an initiative or a proposal in this regard, so we can proceed with these promising initiatives and projects as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for being with us and trying to answer the question, despite it's not your presentation. So maybe if there is some colleagues from the Green Growth Project who want to intervene, maybe Mercé, if you want to say a word. Thank you for staying with us until now.
Thank you, Emmanuel. It's Mercé speaking. I'm not sure if you can hear me well because I don't have a right connection, but thank you for the discussions and all the examples from the different countries. I think it's really interesting to hear the experiences and how the different countries are having their own strategies to for green investments and financing. And it's a topic that we really need to discuss further within the community. We haven't done it so far that much in the past years. So it's great that you put this point into the discussions, and we can exchange among all of us for successful investments in the future in this field. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mercé. Thank you for your support. I don't know if our colleague from Dynamic Vision, I see that Ioannis, Constantina, I think that Natalia is there. If someone of you wants to make a word of conclusion, you're welcome. I know it's a trap, no, but if you want to say a word of comment.
Yes, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes. Congratulations, first of all. It is very important to see that initiatives like the one that Christina promoted or the mega factory that is created in Egypt, they are actually moving us, and they are making a transition towards a green economy. For sure, we will be in touch in several other events that Green Growth is wishing to organize. Congratulations for all of you. Thank you very much for this interesting debate.
Thank you. Thanks to you and for your support. Well, it's my turn to thank you. I will not give a word of conclusion. You know, it's not so easy. We are, I think, in the middle or at the beginning of the road. We talked about the fact that we need to develop tangible criteria tangible tools to make sure that what we call green growth or green economy is really positive in terms of impact for what we are aiming for. We've seen that yes, it's new that these tools are not yet implemented, but we've seen very impressive strategy. What is sure is that the regulation, the political will is there. Money is being put on the table, even if the share of this money is not yet a big share of the total asset that is investing in the economy. It's already huge amounts of money that are driven to these projects contributing to green economy. So it's now up to us, economic development actors, to generate this pipeline to grow projects, to create the emergence of projects in which this money will be invested. I think the example also of Egypt and Catalonia was very interesting in this regard, where the state calls the private sector on board or generate initiatives or promote opportunities to attract private operators to develop projects that contribute to this transition, that contribute to green the economy, to help the economy and the tissue to change. So thank you very much to Zoé, to Roger, to Ahmed, Zohair, to Christina to share this view with us. And in 2 months' time, we have a specific webinar, as I said, on the impact assessment of investment projects. So you will be informed on the date. I remind you that you can review all the presentations on our YouTube channel, on our website. So the next webinar is now shown on your screen. The next one is in 1 month's time, 28th of October. It's on COVID crisis investment opportunity, attracting new projects while protecting your economy for predators. Indeed, there is 2 trends. We know that with the COVID, some projects, some business, some industry will relocate closer to Europe, closer to the European, to the Mediterranean market. So it's an opportunity for some countries. But for some other country, the COVID has harmed a lot of business, and these businesses are endangered to be bought out, to be caught by maybe foreign predators. At least that's what some OECD countries consider, and they are trying to protect themselves from this predation while still facilitating foreign direct investment. So we will see the equations with experts from Germany, from the OECD that will be with us, and from also South Mediterranean countries that will be with us on 28th October. Very interesting topic and very hot topic. And as I said, in December, we will make a training, awareness and training webinar on our impact assessment tool, impact rating tool that we have developed at ANIMA, which is a tool that is quite easy to use at the level of your organizations. So thank you very much for being with us. I think I do not forget anything. Have a good day, and see you next month for the next webinar. Thank you again for all the participants and the speakers. Thank you, Roger, Zoé. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Ahmed, and thank you, Christina. Goodbye.